One of the guaranteed ways to not make any money from your online course is by just selling the program or course as though it's an e-commerce style product by simply creating the product and popping it on your website. There's no faster way to crickets than this. So to find out how to shift your online course from a simple product into an irresistible offer and what the difference is, keep listening. Welcome to the Lou Blakely Show. You're in the right place if you're a service provider who is ready to transition into a more freedom-based business model with digital products. In this podcast, I share with you a unique combination of launch strategy, energetics, and mindset to create true, long-lasting success. It's time to ditch the burnout for good, create the business that you truly want, and share it with the world. Let's get started. Welcome to the Lou Blakely Show. In this episode, I'm diving into a very important topic and something that is important to wrap your head around if you want to be successful selling online courses and other digital programs online. It's the difference between simply creating and selling a course versus creating offers. So this is important because just offering up your product to your audience is not going to result in the flow of customers you want for your newest online course or program. Too many people experience this situation where they spend a lot of time putting a course together only for it then not to sell, like to simply sit there and no one even finds it in order to buy it. And I do not want this to happen to you, which is why this is such an important topic. So I'm going to be sharing with you what an offer is and how is it different from your product, the key parts of an offer to attract the right customers and see success online, and also why creating a course with simple product marketing just doesn't convert to sales. So let's dive in. What is an offer and how is it different from your product? So an offer is the way you present and package up your online course or program to the world, and it includes your course as the main event, but it's actually only one of the ingredients. So your course is the product, like the main product, but it's not the whole thing, if that makes sense. And as we go through this episode, I think it's going to cement a little bit more as I continue talking. Okay, so you might be like, what? That makes no sense, but keep listening. So the reason that you do need an offer and not just your course as the sole product is because there's no real incentive to buy it. And without buyers, it's not really worth us spending the time turning what we know into a course because people just aren't going to buy it. Like, there's no point. Okay? So when you go to present and package it up, or your product as an offer, then it becomes something that people really, really want. So that's the key distinction. It's when you kind of package it up. So maybe that word packaging really helps you identify the difference. So that's when it becomes something that your ideal customer just absolutely has to have. It becomes irresistible to them and they are willing to spend money on it. And that is the key difference between online courses and programs that sell and ones that don't. I have seen so many online courses, like people reaching out to me, making inquiry, wanting to work with me, saying, I have an online course. Like, more often than not, people that actually come to work with me actually already have an online course and they'll share it with me, and it's just a simple page on a website with no real marketing plan behind it, no way for people to even know about it, and definitely no offer. Like, it is just literally like, in this course, I teach you how to bullet point, you know, like that, and then kind of buy now and the pricing button. It's not really going to compel people to buy, and we'll get into that. So you could really say that your offer is how you present it to the world, is how you package it up and present it. So again, that kind of packaging. You know, I come from a marketing background, so maybe you don't talk about that as much, but when I was studying marketing, it was all about packaging is such an important part of marketing, and I don't mean the package wrapped around it. I mean, I suppose you could think of an offer as a kind of version of a package wrapped up around a course. But how do you package things together? How do you package it up into one bigger thing that people really, really want? And I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but I thought it was worth sharing. So, how you package it up and present it is what makes the difference between a nice to have but no real reason to buy So there still might be a small number of buyers, but the numbers are going to be very considerably lower. 2, someone seeing your online course and the way you've packaged it up and presented it into an offer, and then, that difference being that now they absolutely have to have the course that you're selling. So let's use an example here of an e-commerce store with a bunch of products on it, or maybe even let's think of it in the context of a bricks and mortar store full of products, so like a real store in the mall or wherever. So this store that we're talking about exists every day. So people can pop in and out, they purchase when they need something. Now this is going to be a very small amount of people because those people have the intent. They know that they've run out of something, they need to go and buy it. They have a reason that they actually need it. So therefore they've made a particular trip to the shops to go and get that thing. Now imagine if that same store never actually ran any promotions or did any campaigns or marketing at all. Like they just sat there, all they really got was maybe some foot traffic. But, it really depends on where they're located. But they only had people coming into that store that had a proven need for something. Like I said, they ran out of something. They need to go and grab it, So it's likely that without that kind of marketing or any promotions, campaigns, etc., it's likely that they will get a small number of sales only from the people who have an immediate need for something. So it's going to be a very small proportion. Then, of course, that store, again, is probably competing with similar other businesses that sell the same kind of product. So they're only going to get purchases from an even smaller number of buyers. So that small number of buyers is just shrunk because there's other places that these people can go as well. So there's no real urgency in this type of store without any marketing or promotions. There is no reason to buy now versus next week or even next year. It's only going to capture those people with that immediate need and, not even the full proportion of them because there's competitors. So now you start to think about what kind of promotions that these types of stores do generally run. Like we all go shopping. We all know what marketing these stores are doing, whether we actually register it consciously or not. So they can often do reduced price sales. Not something I recommend for courses, by the way, but that is one tactic. But, think about what other types of promotions they do. So everything is always time bound, therefore creating urgency. So sure, they have their products available every day, but all campaigns and promotions or special deals have an end date. And they need to do this to create sales. Even supermarkets do this with their weekly offers. There is a reason for this, and that is why we need to create an offer that's time-bound with our online courses to create the same urgency. Otherwise, people just don't buy. They also often, like back to the bricks and mortar store example, so they also often combine products into bundles or offer buy one, get one free or free gift with purchase. Like there's no end to the combinations of sales that they do. They can do Black Friday sales, around certain events, all sorts of stuff. So what they're doing here is actually turning their products into offers. And we want to do the same with our online course. So we need to give people a really compelling reason to buy now. Otherwise, you're only ever going to capture a really small segment of your audience. And the common thought is that this is generally only about 3% of your audience who have the immediate need right now. And if you think about only 3% of your audience, like I'm not talking about one specific campaign, but over time, maybe like the next 2 years, if you knew that only 3% of your audience is going to buy from you, would it actually be worthwhile? And, how big is your audience? So you've got to think about the proportion size of that. You want to get more buyers than that, right? Like you actually want to make more money from this than that. So instead of simply offering your online course with a list of what's inside, you need to wrap it up into a beautiful marketing package and turn it into an offer that really compels people to buy now. So selling courses really is 80% marketing and 20% of what's inside your course. But unfortunately, it can be very easy to spend all of your time on what's inside your course and no time on the marketing, which can really lead to results that you don't want, okay? But instead, to get the results that you do want, you need to focus more of your time into creating epic offers, and that's like a big part of where your focus needs to go in order to see success with this type of business. So let's dive into the key parts of an offer that you need to attract the right customers and to see success online with this business model. So the main ingredient is definitely your course. So your course is the basis of your offer. So don't go thinking that it's only like a teeny tiny part. It's not. It's actually the main part. So it is like a big part of your offer. Without it, there would be no offer. But while it's the biggest part, it's definitely not the whole picture. We kind of need to wrap it up and package it and put a bow on it, okay? So the next thing that you need is bonuses. So what extras can you offer people for free that will complement and make their experience of buying your online course even better? So this is the best way, one of the best ways that you can increase the value of your offer. And you can also add different bonuses in as you go through a launch. Bonuses is quite a big topic, and it's something I maybe do a full episode on in the future, but like what kind of bonuses to create, that kind of thing. But, every single time you do a launch or a promotion for your course, you can actually change the bonuses. Like, they don't always need to stay the same. For example, if you have a low conversion rate, it could be because your bonuses aren't attractive. So next time you could actually look at changing them. So every time you do a launch, you have the ability to change your offer, even if your actual main course or program doesn't change. So hopefully you're starting to get an idea of what I mean by an offer. Like, you can change your offer with each launch, even though the main course stays the same. So bonuses are a really great way to compel people to buy now, because you may not be offering that bonus again. You might do limited time bonuses that are only once off and you'll never do again. So it's all about how to attract people now rather than later. Another thing to include in your offer is a time frame. So this is how long your offer is going to be available to purchase. This having like an end date. I mean, it's kind of twofold, the benefits of this. The first, from an offer perspective, is that it creates the urgency for people who are kind of like half interested, half on the fence, to actually commit and make a decision to buy now rather than waiting for people to buy whenever they want, because most likely they won't. And that's not always in service to them, right? One of the things with this kind of like marketing ethics point of view that I hear a lot of people talk about is saying that urgency is unethical. I absolutely do not agree with that. And I also know that as a consumer myself, I love when there is urgency and that urgency is well communicated. So I know the time when I have to make a decision by. Sometimes if I'm interested in buying a product or a course, I will actually just hop back to the sales page to look at the countdown timer to see, okay, I've got this much longer to make a decision. So I don't think of it as a point of like actually pressuring people to buy. I think urgency is actually like, this is when this offer is available for. It's not available all the time, because that just is not good for business. This offer is not going to be available all the time, and you need to buy by this date to get this deal. Like, that is marketing, okay? And the other bonus of it, not so much from a conversion point of view, but it also allows you as the business owner to shut the doors and focus on serving your students and also spending time on growing your audience ready for your next launch. So you don't always have to be in doors open mode, which can be sometimes feel a little bit overwhelming, especially if you don't have a strategy for that. So definitely recommend having a doors close time. Another thing to consider with your offer, or another part of your offer, is what type of format your course is presented in. So are you doing a small course with no support? It could be a larger investment course, such as a signature program with a lot more support on offer. Maybe you're doing a weekly call or Q&A sessions or something like that. I mean, something like that is an extra part of the offer, because that's not in the course program or the course your lessons, right? But it's a extra that you're adding. So that's part of the offer, like, again, how you're packaging it up. Because if you have content as the basis of your online course, you can still use that as the basis for like a coaching program, which is a much higher investment, but they get a lot more interaction with you versus a signature course, for example. You might do weekly calls, but it's not personalized. You don't have as close a relationship. Or you could even just sell it as a course that people work through in their own pace. So you could do, like, say, for example, you're doing 3 launches a year. You could do one of those as a live round. It's higher price. You're actually going to be there coaching them. You could do another launch in that year, whereas a signature course where you're doing weekly calls, but it's not customized to them. You're not giving them feedback and that kind of stuff. Or you could even do a self-study option as well. So that is part of the offer as well. And again, that can change each time you do a launch. Like some people, you might find that some people might not want to do like a really intensive coaching program, that actually rather do self-study. So you can change that pretty easily. But if you haven't created a program yet and you're not sure which one is right for you, then I highly recommend going to take my quiz to find out which kind of digital product is going to be the best for you to turn what you know into a product that people actually want to buy. So you can find that quiz at louiseblakely.com/quiz. Another part of your offer is your USP, otherwise known as your unique selling proposition. So why are you different to the competitors? What is the special sauce that you bring that separates you from the rest? So this is actually part of your offer. It's part of your marketing. You need to include this so that you communicate to people, your prospective buyers, why you are different. What is the special thing that you will teach them that they're not going to get anywhere else? This is how you separate yourself. If you're in a field where there's a lot of competitors and you're all supposedly doing the same thing, your kind of like proprietary method or formula or whatever it is that you are able to package up and teach that is unique to you is going to be the reason why people work with you and not the next person down the road. Okay, so your kind of unique selling proposition is part of your offer. It's something you need to wrap up as part of your offer and include in your marketing why people need to work with you. What are they going to get? Is it the method? Is it the formula that only you teach? Another key part of your offer is your price. So this is, of course, part of how you present an offer, and it can change over time depending on what format you're presenting it in. So as I said before, you could do like the same actual course material. You could present it in self-study, weekly calls where you're not giving feedback, or a real deep dive through coaching. So the price is going to be respective of that. It doesn't always have to be, but it should be, right? So your price can change with every time you release the same course in a different offer. Your price could possibly be different. It could also be cheaper at the start when you're just introducing it. You've got no testimonials or case studies, that kind of thing. And then it can go up over time as it becomes more established and more well-known. So your price is definitely part of your offer. Now, the last part of your offer is a guarantee. Now, you don't have to offer a guarantee, but you can choose to offer one, and it can often make a big difference for a lot of people who are more like logical buyers who really want to feel some kind of security when they're making a purchasing decision. So this can give people the peace of mind that they need to make the decision and go for, and sign up for your program. It can definitely increase your sales because those people have that peace of mind that they know that, if they get in there and it's a disaster or it doesn't exist or something like that, then they can actually have an out. So it could be a 7 days money back guarantee or 14 days or whatever you choose. You can add in any conditions you like or none at all and make it like a no questions asked money back guarantee. But an important point here is that you absolutely do not need to have a guarantee. I actually don't recommend having one for group coaching programs. This is just too much time investment for you to then get someone to ask for their money back. Like, you do have to believe in yourself and your product, and also get your customers or students to back themselves to show up and do the work as well. So yeah, I don't recommend it for group coaching programs, but for lower cost programs, it can definitely be worthwhile, particularly for like mini courses and smaller investments. So it's really up to you whether you want to include a guarantee. And again, this can change from launch to launch. So your offer gets to change. You can improve your offer, but still keep the same core course there as the core of the offer, but all the bits around it can change. So that's what's included as part of your offer, right? So you're probably thinking, well, actually, all of the things apart from the actual course content, everything else is the offer, like all of the stuff you need to come up with in order to go into your next launch or go into your first launch. And that would be true. Like, more of it is about your offer than you may have thought before listening to this episode. Like, your offer is actually a much bigger part of it than your program or your course. So I really hope that you now understand what the difference is between simply creating and selling your course, maybe popping it on a website and hoping that people just buy it. I hope you understand the difference between that and creating an amazing offer that people really, really want to invest in. So once you are able to make this distinction, it's really such a game changer when it comes to selling your online courses successfully. So I really hope you take this on board and turn your amazing products into epic offers. And if you already have one of, like I spoke about earlier, that a lot of people who I speak to actually already do have an online course, but it just hasn't sold. If that's you and you've kind of given up, then I definitely encourage you to relook at it with fresh eyes. How can you package it up into an amazing offer that people really, really want and see value in? Because once they see value in it and you're able to communicate that value and the offer is just a no-brainer, then that's when you are really going to see a change in how much people want to invest in your offer. So it's very, very valuable. And as I mentioned, as you've listened to this episode, you may have realized that actually a lot of the marketing side of things is about your offer and not your course. So until the next episode, have a great week and hopefully I'll see you then. Thanks, course creators and go-getters. You're incredible, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit subscribe in your podcast app so you don't miss an episode. If you'd like to find out more about what I offer, head across to loublakely.com. See you next time.